This is Open Mat MMA. Today we're going over UFC fighter stocks, something different than what we usually do. Where we're going to just take a look at fighters in three categories: fighters whose stock has risen, whose stock has stayed the same, whose stock has dropped. First, we're going to start out with fighters whose stock has dropped. First with Jamie Mullarkey. He just had a close fight. He's coming off a knockout loss, and then he had another close fight with an older fighter. And arguably he lost. I thought he lost on my scorecards, but I had to look at the other scorecards. But people thought he lost that fight, and he's mediocre at best. Obviously, he's a good fighter, world class, but like he's having these close fights with guys who he shouldn't be having these close fights with. So to me, his stock has dropped. The next one we're going with the Buffalo Charles Radtke. His stock has dropped not for his post-fight comment, but it's the performance. Blood Diamond is he was coming to fight 3-2. He's 3-3 now. Charlie, he came in with a lot of hype. He was supposed to win that fight and finish that fight. It's like a layup, but he managed to let the fight go to decision, and people thought he lost. I thought he won the fight, but I can't see the argument. Blood Diamond was landing some shots on him. There's a lot of clinch work too. It wasn't even an exciting fight either. And the final person whose stock has dropped that we're going to go over is Israel Adesanya. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to do a video on this, but to make it quick, Izzy got dominated from round 1 to round 5. Now, if he would have got finished round 1, that would have been a better scenario for him. But that fight went on, and we got to see he got exposed. Now, I'm not saying everybody could do that to him in the middleweight division, but you know you're as good as your last fight. I don't know how the matchmaking going to work out of that. Maybe we do a video, take a look at that. But it's dropped his stock because he was competing with Anderson for the GOAT title of middleweight, one of the GOATs of MMA, period. Definitely one. He was top 3 pound for pound, top 5 pound for pound. Now, man, he's on a UFC Deluxe edition of the new video game coming out, and to lose the fight to Strickland, who the betting odds show that he was supposed to be on his level, that definitely dropped the stock. Next, we're gonna go with people who stayed the same. Manel Kape is the first one. So Manel Kape, he fought a guy who's Felipe Dos Santos. This is his first fight in the UFC. It was a very close fight. Now, I think he won every round, but it was super competitive. Usually your stock would drop after that, but we were so focused on Felipe that we gave Manel Kape a pass because the guy looked tough. The eye test was great. Manel Kape had a good post-fight speech. He caught out Car France and his team, and he used a certain word that we're not going to say, but I said it's a good call out because he's setting up his next fight, which is a top 10 matchup. So, and that's what he needs. He needs to be fighting these contenders to get to the belt. Next, we got Alexander Volkov. His stock has stayed the same. I say that because he fought the best of the best heavyweights, and he has lost. And guys like Derek Lewis is still competitive in the heavyweight division, but he lost to him. Last second loss, but that win it showed me that Volkov he's rounding out his game, getting good for the division, his frame. But it also showed me more. It showed that Tua Tuivasa does not belong amongst like the top 10 heavyweights. So hopefully in the future, like Volkov can get some favorable matchups, but he lost to a lot of guys. He's been in the UFC a long time, lost to a lot of guys, beat a lot of guys. So his stock could stay the same in my opinion. And then next, I think this guy, his stock could have risen, but Carlos Ulberg, he had a very good performance. He won in the third round off it was supposed to be a decision, but it ended up being a tap. But Carlos Ulberg, he needs to fight that jump in competition. He needs to fight that top 15. He needs to get there. Kennedy, I know he lost to him, but it's a lot of people in light heavyweight, top 15 matchups that's favorable for him. He called out Dominic Reyes was a favorable matchup for him. I don't think that did much for his stock, that call out or the fight. The fight, because he was supposed to smoke the guy. He took the decision almost. So if he just smoked the guy in round one, it did a little better, but he didn't smoke the guy right away. So, okay, next. His call out. He called out Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes, nobody looks at him like a contender anymore. Like, nobody. So he could have had a better call out. It did more for his stock, but it was a great performance. It's just we expect more from him because how hot he is. I think he's 4 or 5. He's 5-1 in UFC. Like, give him somebody good. That because he's super hot, but him fighting like Dominic Reyes is gonna make him stagnant. So next we're gonna go with stock has risen. We're gonna start off with Landon Quinones. So he lost, but that did a lot for his stock because in the Ultimate Fighter he got beat, right? And then he got that contract, and people was like, "Man, why is he getting this contract to fight Nasrat? Like, why is he shouldn't he's getting smoked? The odds show he was getting smoked, everything. But he came in there, he showed that he belonged with like Nasrat is a legit UFC lightweight. Like, it's some things he could fix, but he's legit. He lost to some guys they probably shouldn't have lost to. You kind of know his skill, but he's legit for the UFC lightweight division. The division is super deep, but him having that competitive fight with him, Landon Quinones, it just showed that he belongs in the UFC. Like he's not going to get judged for his Ultimate Fighter performance because that was not his best. His best was against Nasrat, or he could be better. He could get better from here though. That's a great building block because he fought very good. He fought better than he did on Tough. So, and he fought in front of a crowd and he still did good. So that's why I think his stock has risen. It was a competitive fight. They hurt each other. Like they landed so many strikes on each other. It was crazy. Next, we got the two more. One of them is super obvious. Both of them are super obvious, but Felipe Dos Santos, man, he showed he lost, but he lost to a top 10 flyweight in Manel Kape. He showed that he can be competitive with the best, and he's only 23 years old. So imagine him. He's not nowhere near his prime. He got at least 7, 8 more years to go till he's in his prime. So he definitely like a lot of people like made people excited about that flyweight division. He did made people excited about him. So this is only up from here. He get a favorable matchup, then he can be a top 10 flyweight right away. So that loss didn't do nothing but make his stock go up, and I think he got a bonus too. So his pocket's going up too. And last but not least, we got Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, he went from fighting A-Bus, I don't know his last name. I gotta look it up. I don't want to say Nurmagomedov, but he went from fighting A-Bus to fighting Izzy, right? So he lost to Pereira, fought A-Bus. He got just show money, no win bonus. They pay him a good amount, but now his stock has risen so high. He literally about to get pay-per-view points for his next fight. Sean fights for money, right? That you beat Israel Adesanya, your stock is going through the roof. You literally getting pay-per-view points. You getting that that title pay. Like you got the middleweight championship of the world, man. You getting paid now. Like they get him exactly what he want. So his stock has went up the most. But I think that was the most obvious one. That's why I saved it for last. But let me know what y'all think about the video. Like, comment, subscribe. This is Oakman Mame. I am going to start trying to upload more. I was training for something, so I've been out. But hey, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about the video.